Dayman, BBC Radio Leicester.
Now, next for this afternoon, when my next guest lost his mum in 2019, he wanted to do something very special in her memory. Well, inspired by her love of motorbikes, he decided to undertake a massive road trip across the UK while raising money for a good cause. Well, the ride's got bigger and better by the day, with a whole new family of riders wanting to take part. Well, Victor David joins me now. Victor, I'm so glad of your time this afternoon. I mean, first of all, how did this idea all come about?
Well, firstly, thank you very much for inviting me on. It's going to help massively, I'm sure of that. But the whole thing really came about because, I mean, as you beautifully said in that intro there, I wanted to do something to not only give a good memory for my mum and what she stood for in terms of her own fundraising, but also to help others who are currently still struggling with things like Alzheimer's. And that's not just people who've actually got the disease, but those who are caring for them and looking after them. I thought it was very important that we raise a bit of awareness for that. And that whole thing ties in with mind and mental health perfectly. So it was important to me that both those charities are, helped, really.
So tell me more about this huge route that you're going on and what you're setting out to do, because I just think this is something really quite breathtaking.
Yeah, well, I think you used the right word, massive. Leicester Mercury actually said it was 870 miles, but that's the direct route. We're actually looking at around 3,000 miles. Because what I want to ensure is if people are giving me their time to help me raise awareness and raise money, that they get a great ride out of it. So we're going all the best scenic roads I can find. We're talking the Brecon Beacons, Snowdonia, the Lake District, the NC 500 up around Scotland. We're going the best roads we can possibly do. So this 12 days will be great for everyone involved, not just the charity. We're all getting something out of it, good memories, good experiences. But the key thing is that everyone who's come together because of this is either affected by mind or Alzheimer's. And we've been supporting each other through a lot of, the issues that lockdown has brought up. So it's not just money we're raising here and awareness we're raising, but also helping individuals on the ride come to terms with their own mental health struggles. At the end of the day, it's just a bike ride, but it seems to be doing an awful lot for a lot of people, which is, more than I could have wished for.
How is that as well? We talked there that you're doing this in memory of your mum, who you sadly lost in 2019. You're talking there of people with mental health troubles of their own, of people losing family members through Alzheimer's. I mean, it's almost therapy then, in some way. How much of a help is that?
Yeah. That's the perfect word to use, I mean, it's been tough for so many people, lockdown. And I think the key thing, well, for me, it's been a great distraction organising this during lockdown. But for many people, they wanted something to look forward to at the end of all this madness, So we're talking about probably 30 or 40 bikes booked per day on this ride, and at least 15 that are doing the entire journey. So all of those involved have had, this wonderful, we call it a brotherhood in the bike world, although obviously we have sisters in there as well, but it's an old term, brotherhood, so we kind of keep with that. But the inclusivity involved in that, we've got CBT riders and L-plate riders who don't normally get to join in big bike rides, and they're all included. So everyone has had something really, really positive to look forward to. And of course, we hope now with everything going on that, nothing gets in the way of this now, because I think it'll be a massive blow to so many people. But it's just something really positive to pull you through the dark times,
I love this brotherhood. I lost my father-in-law at the start of the year, and he was a keen motorbiker. His friends and people that wanted to kind of like pay their respects just all dawned on Botcheston, and it was the most incredible sight. It really brought a tear to your eye in the best possible way. You were saying there, Victor, about the fact that all these bikes day by day want to join in, want to come together. I mean, how has that been, the fact that you've had to extend the route as more bikers have pledged to join you? I mean, did you ever dream this would happen?
No, this whole thing has just been a massive, massive shock to me, to be fair. When I started organising this, the original plan was to kayak around the UK, because my opinion is if you're doing something for charity, it must be a challenge. It shouldn't be easy. But I capsized about 200 metres out the harbour, so that wasn't going to happen, But then only a few months later, I passed my full bike test, and it suddenly clicked,
And Victor, what would you
But
like?
there, which you're not supposed to do. Say again?
And sorry, we just lost you for a moment there, but you're back. We've got you back. I mean, no, don't worry about that. I thought there was a dramatic pause then for a minute, Victor, but it's all right. We've got you. There's a gremlin. But, you know, I just want to talk about more as well about what would your mum make of all of this?
Oh, she'd be ecstatic. I mean, she loved attention anyway, bless her. But she had to stop riding because of her illnesses. She had multiple strokes, epilepsy, and, you know,
We just lost Victor again there for a moment. Hopefully we will get him back up in just a moment's time, just to hear more how people can support Victor, of how they can get behind him, of how they can, you know, make sure that he's well supported. Victor, you're just telling us there about how your mum's, you know, journeys were sadly limited, but she would love this idea.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, I say, unfortunately, she couldn't ride in a later life because of this, but I should also say Victor David is not my real name. I'm a teacher, so I have an online social media name, which is actually my dad's first and middle name. So I'm actually taking both my parents on this ride in one way or another, which is, you know, quite an important thing for me. A little, what do you call it, jar or vase of my mother's ashes is coming as well, so that we can actually have that ride together, because that's one thing that, you know, sadly we never got to have. So it's kind of tying the whole thing in to a really nice way of paying my respects to my mum and dad, basically. So she would have been over the moon with it.
Brilliant. What a brilliant thing to do. Just very briefly tell us as well, how can people support you?
Well, the easiest way to get involved, really, is to join a ride. Now, I should say, I'm not expecting people to ride the entire 12 days. You can join us for an hour if you want to, or a day. It's entirely down to you. But all we ask is that you pay a donation for doing so. If you want to support us in another way, if you go to GoFundMe and search for Victor David, the campaign page will come up, or alternatively through our website, ridersofcharity.com. And I will also say there is a Riders of Charity, but that's pedal bikes, which we're definitely not. So make sure it's Riders
He said it didn't
of
really make
Charity.
too much of a difference.
Oh,
So.
Victor, it's great to have you on the show. We will catch up with you and find out how you get on. My thanks to Victor David for joining and sharing that personal story.